put you on a tripod here. But we're putting a DRO on the Harbor Freight t5980, and here's what the sensor looks like. And the I've had to cut this down. I originally bought it, it was a 6-inch, and I had to cut it for the distance of here. So I've got a piece that Crafted, check him out. He's got some good informational videos, and he's got a 3D printer, and he printed out a piece that will go over top of this that moves up and down, and it has a flat spot on this side so that I can take and mount this to the side of that, simply because I don't want to drill in this, plus it's not center. So basically what I'm going to do is put that right there just like that, and this here will start off down here at the bottom. And when you do mount this, if you do this project, you don't want to go all the way down, because if you're going all the way up to your full end position, you know, this rubber might get a little wore out and start thinning, and then you're going to be starting to push on your sensor. You don't want to do that. So you want to allow, I would say, somewhere around an 1/8 inch. That way, you know, the thickness of the rubber. If it's missing, you're still not going to hit it. So anyway, this is going to get mounted right there to that piece that was 3D printed. And then right now what I'm making, and I use this as a template to start off with, I'm going to take this and drill all them holes, and that's why I'm making a new one, because I got that hole in there and it lines right up on where I need to put screws. So this is just a sacrificial piece, basically just to give an idea. So I cut that the same size as the box, and then I'll drill and countersink each one of these holes, so when I screw this on there, they'll be nice and flush. So then this piece will mount right there, and I had thought about taking, now it's going to be out a little further, but you get the idea. I'm making another bracket that goes on there. Instead of me drilling into this little ridge right here, I want to screw in the middle where the corner's not, because if I go to drill in here, I stand a good chance, because this stuff's probably only 3/16 thick, if not less. So if I was to drill in here about 1/4 inch from the edge, there's a good chance I'm going to hit half. Once I get through this, half of my drill bit's going to be on this part, drilling through sideways. So to prevent that from being an issue, I figured I'd make an L bracket that goes on here, that comes around here like this, out of stainless steel, so it won't rust, and put my holes here in the middle where we know we're not going to hit a big chunk of half of metal or casting. So when I tap it, they'll be clean through and everything will be good, and I'll make it with oblong holes so I can adjust it either way I want. Once I've got this mounted, then I'll tighten the screws down. If that will work. I'm not sure that's going to work, for the simple reason the front of this starts up here and then gradually starts working its way that way, and then once it gets around about where the knob is, it kind of rounds off a little bit. So that may not be a feasible idea. I may still have to put holes in this side, and I don't need to go very deep, so that may be a problem I'm worried about that don't need to be worried about. So I'll just have to use a flat bottom tap when I go to tap it out. Started out with a regular tap, once I get a couple threads and get it to where it's close to the bottom, then I can just take a flat bottom, which I've got one that I can make a flat bottom, turn it into a flat bottom, and then that'll mount right there. And then when this goes up and down, it'll pull this down and go back up when you let go. And I think this is going to work out pretty good. So right now we're working on this plate. So because I just realized that this turns in, like I'd already realized before and just forgot, I'm going to go ahead and make another plate out of stainless steel that's just like this one. And I'll probably cut it to the contour of this face. So we're going to get started on making that. I was going to make it out of that piece, but I just realized I can't. So I just cut that piece for nothing. So we're going to go ahead and get the plate made, and then we got to figure out where or how we're going to put the corresponding holes in it. I really don't need that many. 2 would probably be fine. The 2 in the center. So that would make it a whole lot simpler to drill them. Just simple as finding center, and then once you found your center, then measure up from the edge to this one, and then measure from this one to this one, and that would be as simple as that. Not a whole lot of guesswork in that. So let me get the plate made and we'll be back. Alright, now we've got our plate made, and I decided to use aluminum. And this here was a piece that came off of my table saw that was that cheap aluminum I can't remember what you call it. It was the part that mounted to this, and it was aluminum, and I just cut it up and used it for something else because I wanted a wooden one. But anyway, I got to the point where this is how it's going to go. It's going to go on the back side of that, and the bottom edge of this is going to line up with the bottom edge of this. So we're going to put that there, and that's where we want it. So what we're going to do is, in order to transfer the holes on the back of this to drill them out, what I've decided to do is take some tape, and being that this hole is directly center of this piece, and these are uniform, it don't matter which way you put this, it's going to be correct because it's all uniform. So we're going to cut this piece of masking tape to the bottom of this, and that will be our reference mark. And then we're going to cut this part off. This part I'm going to leave like it is. It doesn't matter. We just need this part down here to be cut the way, or where it's contour with the bottom of this. So once I've got that cut off and got this edge cut off, we're going to take this off and we're going to turn it around and put it on here once we've made our marks, and that will give me my marks. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mark this hole. Alright, I'll mark all of them. That way if I ever do want to mount something else, I've got all the holes. Alright, and to assure that we see it, we're going to put a dot right in the middle with a Sharpie. So now we've got our dots. So now we're going to cut this down, and that's going to be with an X-Acto knife. Oh, and I can't find my blade. Hey, doing it. Okay, well, that's fine. We're going to take a razor blade, and we're going to go ahead and cut this side down. And be careful not to cut your cord. Alright, then we're going to come over here and we're going to cut this side. Alright, now we've got it squared. Now it's pretty simple to just take this right off of there. And remember, it lines up on the bottom, top doesn't matter. So we're going to take that, and we're going to line that up on the bottom, and we're going to allow just a hair off of the edge. Just like that. And what I meant by a hair off of the edge is this back edge, so that just in case the holes are a little closed, I don't have to waller them out. So right there we've got our pattern, and you don't want to rub on your pencil or your markings because you're probably, I don't know, might not. Yeah, it didn't rub off. Alright, so now we've got our pattern. Now we can just take a knife and trim that piece there down. Alright, now we've got our pattern transferred. Now I got to take it over to the drill press and drill those out. And I'll meet you there. Now for choosing the bit that we're going to use, see how that light works on the camera. It might be too bright. What we're going to do is we're going to choose a bit that's just a hair bigger than the hole in the plastic. See, we've got, that might be a little big. Alright, so now this one here, when you push on it, it feels like it's got a grab to it. So that means you're almost getting ready to go in the hole. So it's just small enough that it's not going to be bigger than your head on your screw, which is the same size as this. So I think that one will work fine. And the reason I go just a hair bigger than the plastic piece is just in case these do kind of go off, because sometimes it's kind of hard to get them right, especially when you're doing it the way I'm doing it. Now if I was using a milling machine that was set up, that was precision work and stuff like that, that'd be a different story. Alright, let's go ahead and drill these out. Now I just tap it to make sure that I'm taking the black spot off. Once I hit that black spot, then I can go ahead and grab and growl. Alright, same thing with this one. have to, on the back side of that, you have a little lip where it tore through, and it's causing it to not be flat. So I just take a bigger drill bit and kind of chamfer it. That way it sets flat again. Same thing with this one. It just takes, see, just cleans it up. You do the same thing with the chamfering tool. I just had a bit there at my disposal. Always do your little bump, because if you don't, you're going to find yourself walking off of your hole. Alright, that's one side done. Take your drill bit, chamfer it one turn. And there you have chamfered holes on this side, chamfered holes on this side, and she's ready to install. So I'll meet you at the mill. Alright, now we're over here at the mill. Now we can take and mount this to it, check our holes. Now, just to give you an idea of why I left a little gap in between that on my tape or my pattern so that it have a gap, is because if I hadn't have done that, I would be in trouble right now. And the reason being is, if you notice, this piece of metal here has a little step that comes out. And if I would have put that tape close to the edge of this, the plastic piece on my sensor would have been hitting that before it actually reached the holes. So that was just me thinking ahead. So now I've got that piece ready to go on. All my holes. Now there's going to be one of them that ain't lined up right, but I'm hoping that the 4 I need are going to be lined up just right. So let's test that out. On the screwdriver here. And see how well it works. There's one. There's two. There's three. There's four. There's five. And there's six. I got 6 out of 6 lined up. That's how you make a pattern. So, and since we don't need these screws for anything else, I'm just going to leave them in this. And we just tighten them up a little bit. Just a little hand tight, not too bad. You don't want to break your sensor. Alright, now, and we're going to have to take this back off to drill the holes for the side, which I should have done while I was doing this. And so now I can't drill the holes in the casting until I actually have the piece that goes on here that I'm getting from Crafted. Simply because I want to make sure that this thing is running parallel with this I actually make my holes, because I don't want to have to do a whole lot of adjustments. So, but this is just to give you an idea of what this is going to look like. The piece that I'm getting from Crafted will come around here, and then this will be set out about like that. So we may have to put some kind of a spacer behind this and space that out, because it's going to rest comfortably down around this knob. And then this wire will kind of go in behind there, nice and neat, like that. And that will be set out like that, and then there'll be a flat spot on that piece that's going to go on this. So this will screw onto it. Once I've got this to where it's running parallel with this, then I can go ahead and drill my holes where I'm going to drill. But I already know where I'm going to drill the holes in this, so I'm going to go ahead and drill that, and then we'll go to the next stop, or next process, which probably won't be until I get this piece in the mail, which is going to go out Monday. So hopefully that helps somebody else out, and they can actually put a DRO on theirs. Now I'm planning on I'm wanting to put DRO on all of it. The X-axis, the Y-axis, and we're already taking care of the Z-axis. We'll get this thing digitized up into the 2000s, and I may also, I was just thinking, being that I don't want to cover up, I don't want to cover this up, and I certainly don't want to be wearing it thin right there because of the magnet and it vibrating and eventually rubbing the black off of it so I can't see my numbers. I think what I'm going to do is take another piece of aluminum plate and make me a bracket that mounts on the bottom of this, that comes out to where I can put this pedestal on there and just slide that in there. I think that's what I'm going to do, something like that. This way it'll be right there. And I think that'll work nice. Put a little plate underneath there, and that'll hold that in place. And when I make this plate, I want to also make a long enough piece of plate to go all the way back here, however far I need to put 3 of those. Well, my handle's going to be in the way there. Yeah, I'd like to put 3 of them across there. Put one there, and maybe I have to put one right here. That's no big deal. I can do that. And that way I can still get to my knob. That way I have X, Y, Z. So this one will go right here for Z-axis, being that it's close to that. And then your Y-axis will go here, and then your Z-axis will go here. And I think that'll work out pretty good. And I'll have all 3 digital readouts. This will be a cool meal when I'm done with it. So there you have an update on the Harbor Freight t5980 upgrades. I'm Bob. Please subscribe, like, comment. I'll answer any questions you have. You guys have a good one. Later.